Hi, welcome to the Nog Vlog. My name is Lance. I'm going to take you on a complete ship tour of the Royal Caribbean Allure of the Seas. We're going to go top to bottom. We're going to go deck by deck, show you everything that this massive ship has to offer. If by watching this you learn something for your upcoming sailing on this ship, do us a favor, smash that like button. It really helps the video, helps the channel. We greatly appreciate it. So let's get started up on deck 17. We're going to check out the loft suite. So these are actually on deck 17 and technically deck 18 because they contain a loft. Very fancy suites. We'll talk more about them in just a second. If you're new to this channel, we love to do our ship tours as informative as possible. So you'll see at the bottom left of the screen, the ship map. It'll change as we navigate across the vessel. You've got the blip on the map following exactly where we are on the ship, so you'll know exactly where we are in relation to things as we do this tour. So if you are staying in one of these loft suites, you'll have access to both the coastal kitchen and the suite lounge. Unfortunately, we didn't have access to this area because we didn't stay up here, but the lounge, the coastal kitchen are nice perks for if you are staying in one of these suites. There's actually another area on deck 17 in the forward part of the ship where there's additional lounges, bars, and sunbathing areas. We can't access those, but we'll point them out when we're outside in just a little bit. So next up is deck 16. We'll start in the forward part of the ship at the solarium. The solarium is located on both 16 and 15 forward. You saw some exits there that take you out to the sides. The solarium bar is here on deck 16. Lots of shaded lounging available here around the bar. Lots of space open here on a sea day. If you're new to ship terminology, you'll hear me say forward, midship, and aft part of the ship. Of course, forward is the front, midship is the middle, and aft is the rear of the ship. The right side of a ship is called the starboard side. That's where we are here now. And the left side of the ship is known as the port side. So you'll hear me reference that as we go throughout the tour. Lots of loungers available here in the solarium on 16. You'll see some stairs that take you down to some of the amenities of the solarium on deck 15. Let's head into one of these little outcroppings and take a look at everything down in deck 15. Of course, we'll tour that in just a moment. The solarium is only open to guests 16 or older, so you might find it a little bit more tranquil, a little bit more peaceful with no kids around. And the way they've engineered the space really lets you enjoy the fresh air without having to battle too much wind, too much of the elements. Again, a very peaceful place to set up shop during your cruise. I referenced deck 17 forward earlier with additional lounge space for suite guests. This is for sky guests, star guests, and pinnacle level guests. We'll see some stairs that take you up to that level in just a moment. This is that port side exit that we saw earlier. We'll give a quick preview down below to deck 15. You'll see one of the two giant whirlpools that's available technically outside of the solarium area. Stairs down to 15 below here as well. And here's the stairs that take you up to that reserved deck. The ship cards of guests with those exclusive privileges will be able to access this area. Little old me, not so much. Alas, the rest of the ship will be my oyster, and you can see there is plenty of it to go around. Beautiful view of the Gulf of Mexico here below. You'll see the starboard side of deck 16 is very similar in lounge setup and layout. So with such a large ship, we won't backtrack where things are symmetrical in a few spaces. Ahead, you'll see the sky bar, stairs down to 15, and an entrance to the Windjammer buffet. We'll actually use the starboard entrance as we cross through the middle of the ship. This middle area here is where you'll see some of the action during some deck parties. More on that in just a little bit. More spoilers for the 4 pools that encompass deck 15 below. And just down under us is where more of that deck party action would happen. It's a small space. We'll get into that when we are on deck 15. As I mentioned, starboard side of deck 16, tons of loungers out here. It is early evening. I think a lot of people are getting ready for dinner. It's also January when we did this sailing, so not a lot of people just looking to soak up the sun just yet. The mast bar is also available here up top on 16 when demand warrants it. And as we make our way around, we will enter the Windjammer Marketplace. This is the buffet for the Allure of the Seas, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Keep an eye out for these things across the ship. I don't want to spoil anything, but those are called small wonders. We'll talk more about them as we go through the ship tour. The buffet is currently closed. I think it's early afternoon, almost evening time, so it's going to open again soon. See, these stairs take you up to those loft suites that I mentioned right above us here. Some more elevators to get you there as well, or down below. This starboard side entrance to the buffet is also closed, but I wouldn't leave you hanging. I came back when they were open for dinner so you could see everything about the Windjammer Marketplace. Lovely addition of hand washing stations as you first walk in. Drink stations including the Coca-Cola Freestyle machines, part of a soda and deluxe beverage package option. And then you see all of the serving stations, as well as some stations where the crew serve you. Overall, the food was delicious. The space to sit was amazing. I had no complaints. Lots of seating available. It's a little tight to get around all of the food and get your food. However, that's going to be any buffet. I was very pleased with the staff here. They helped us find tables when we had large parties. They helped us get our drinks when we needed them. And pro tip, don't try to find seats right when you walk in. Head towards the back. There's tons and tons of seats that have great views of the aft of the ship here in this back section. Again, great seating options. You can go for anywhere from sitting solo to double digits. Whatever you need, they'll find a way to make a table for you and your party. I just mentioned the back of this buffet area has great views of the ocean, the rest of the ship. Look how much we still have to go. But that's okay. We're having fun. We're learning about the ship. If you are learning something about the Allure of the Seas, smash that like button. It helps us so much. We greatly appreciate it. It's dinner time. So a lot of people are eating elsewhere on the ship, so don't make the mistake all these people did. They're walking around thinking, oh, I'll just go to the other side where it's not as busy. And yeah, no, there's a reason why everyone was on that one side. Again, demand dictates only open half of it. But during peak times, expect it all to be open. Overall, very impressed with the food, the service, everything about the Windjammer Buffet. I highly recommend it as an alternative to the main dining room or one of the other restaurants on the ship. Deck 15 is next. We saw bits and pieces of this from above up on deck 16. We'll exit these port doors. We're in the forward section. We always try to start on the forward side on each deck and make our way aft. We took a glance at the whirlpool from above. You'll see this massive infinity style whirlpool actually hangs over the side of the ship. We'll get an awesome view of that in just a moment on deck 14. Spoiler alert. But we'll go into the solarium area. You'll see a towel station, and into this space is the Solarium Bistro and the Samba Grill. I'll wave my magic pointer finger, and that'll allow me access to show you the small setup that they have for you available on boarding day. Again, if the Lido Buffet is where everyone tends to gravitate for that first bite of lunch when they board the ship, this would be a nice quiet area, an unbusy area to get all the same buffet selections just on a smaller scale. At night, this area turns into Samba Grill, providing another meal option for passengers. We'll trot back through the solarium and show you the two smaller whirlpools that are available exclusive to solarium guests, so that means no kids. For the lack of a better term, there is a tiny little creek that runs through the solarium. There also is a small little pool here in the center. Of course, all pools and jacuzzis on cruise ships are used with salt water. There are freshwater showers available to rinse you off. And a matching jacuzzi to match the one we saw on the port side. So the symmetrical entrance into the Samba Grill / Solarium Bistro. Another entrance into where we first started. Women's bathroom here on this side. And one more large jacuzzi just outside the solarium. Notice the band playing some tunes for everyone lounging out here at the beach pool. It's definitely one of the more popular pools. I found it a little crowded, but if something's good, expect it to be popular. We've got a pair There's a set of whirlpools over around this pool. They are regular temperature whirlpools. They are not super heated like the jacuzzi style, which you'll find on the port side. You can see up above that deck 17 lounge area exclusive for suite guests, and an entrance into the elevator area and the very entrance of the solarium that we started with. We'll use this opportunity to get a first peek down below at Central Park. This comprises deck 8 midship, so more to come as we head lower on the Allure of the Seas. So the forward portside elevators are through those doors. I mentioned the 2 jacuzzis here. We'll actually walk back that way in just a moment. If you were to turn right, you'll go right back to where we started and the large infinity style jacuzzi. These flank the main pool, which no one's using because it's January, it's windy, it's pretty chilly. But we did like how this has stadium style seating to have a nice view of everything going on across the ship. Of course, down here, more loungers in non-stadium style. There's a bar and towel station over here. We'll show those in just a moment. Here's where I mentioned the pool deck parties take place with the band playing. For this size of ship, it's just a really tight area here. You could hear and experience the party pretty much anywhere on this deck, but if you want to be up close, it's just a crowded little space for such a large ship. Stairs up to deck 16 and the sandbar, which we frequented quite often. It was probably open the most. Again, based off of volume, they will close down a few of the bars and keep just one open. Nothing wrong with that. Yet another towel station, and then the H2O zone. So this is the kid area. It's a little outdated. It's set to be refurbished at the next dry dock with some additional splash toys. Between the bar that they keep open the most, the ice cream line that you see here, the whirlpool that's behind me, all of the obstacles in the way, it's hard to see your kids play, and we just found it to be an awkward place to hang out. So we didn't hang out here very much. We did hang out in this jacuzzi right here. It was our go-to jacuzzi. Of course, it was next to the pool bar, which also was open a pretty good amount. There's definitely not a lack of variety in seating all across the ship, especially here on the outer decks. And the last pool of deck 15 is the sports pool. So this had a volleyball net that could retract across, and people used it, even though it was cold. You can see them getting out, maybe regretting that decision. So the foyer to the Windjammer Marketplace is there, and the Loft Suite Lounge and that coastal kitchen area is above us with views down below. So now's a good time as any to explain the elevators on this ship. And this is a shower, not an elevator, obviously. But there's forward and aft banks of elevators, and then there's starboard and port side elevators on either side. We're looking at the aft elevators right now. So no matter where you are, the Allure does a great job of getting their passengers where they need to go. Back outside, port side, you've got the men's restroom. You've got the Patty 5-star Dive Center. This is a desk for shore excursions related to scuba diving. I think scuba diving lessons as well. This just is a back entrance to the elevator shaft and stairwell that takes you up to the Windjammer. This area is known as the View. Great seating to look out onto the ocean without having to deal with the wind or the noise of leaning over a rail or being exposed to the high winds of the upper decks. We just peeked into the back deck, which is kind of an outdoor area of one of the kids' clubs. We'll show that as we conclude deck 15. Just ahead is the Allure Dunes. You saw Brandy making her par on hole number 2. Table tennis is available for regular play as well as scheduled tournaments. And fire that cameraman. He just missed the zip liner coming across and landing. We'll catch the next one. Yes, there's a zip line here in the sports zone. One of the many things they have to offer. The Allure Dunes area, when it was not busy, it had a lot of people taking photos using the scenery. So something to consider there. So up ahead on the map, you'll notice we've got 2 flow riders, the wipeout bar, and you also have the entrance there to the zip line. Technically, this is on the map on deck 16, but this half set of stairs can only be accessed here from deck 15, so I included it here as part of deck 15. The waiting area for zipline can get quite long if you go during busy times of the day, but it goes pretty quick. You can see they already got the next person going across. What do you think? Will you be doing the zip line when you're on the Allure of the Seas? So up the steps, you'll see the 2 flow riders. The one here on the port side is for stand-up, also called flow boarding. On the starboard side is just the standard body boarding or boogie boarding. and lots of instructions. You have to sign a waiver, but it lasts for the whole trip. So head over here early because these lines can get long too, especially as it gets into the warmer months. Facing the very aft of the ship, as high as you can go, you'll see the wipe out bar serving refreshments for everyone. And as we saw the clip earlier, this is the bodyboarding side, also known as boogie boarding. So you'll enter the zip line here after you get all your gear. And just below here is the basketball court slash pickleball court slash dodgeball court. Lots of things going on here. They do have passenger tournaments for all of these sports. We will continue on. You can see we were just up here earlier in the buffet area, and just above that are the balconies for some of those super exclusive loft suites. So tons of seating here in the shade of the Windjammer buffet above us. We'll circle around and check out the teens area from the inside. The Wipeout Cafe is located around the corner as well. I believe it's actually been rebranded to El Loco Fresh. They just kept the old Wipeout Cafe signage. Inside you'll find nachos, tacos, quesadillas, tons of Mexican fare. There's also a Coke drink station and a frozen yogurt slash ice cream station in here. So the Wipeout Cafe can end up being a quite popular place during the day. Heading more forward on the ship, inside here you'll see some venues catered for the younger passenger. First, the large video arcade. There's another arcade that's a little bit smaller down on deck 8 aft. We'll show that in a moment. You can simply swipe your SeaPass card. You can add some credits to it with cash if I'm not mistaken. There are some games with prizes, but there's also games just for having fun with your friends and family. Just across from the arcade is Breeze, which looks like a small shop of Royal Caribbean gear. I never saw it open, maybe in the warmer months when more people are congregating up top. We've got elevators here in the aft to take you up and down. Note this dress. We're going to see this dress. We have probably seen it already a few times that dons the elevator shaft here in the aft of the ship. A lot of history about the ship's creation located here in the foyer of Deck 15 aft. And this awesome ship model as well. I was very impressed by the level of detail. I was not impressed how they set it up. One of the great things about the Oasis class ships is the design, the architecture of the rear of the ship, and you can't see it. They miss the opportunity to have you be able to walk 360 degrees around it. Teen only area here, age 12 to 17. This is the living room. I'll take a quick peek inside, but no one wants to see me with a camera walking around, so we'll leave that for those teens. We're done with 15. Let's head down to 14. We have a few things we want to show you here on deck 14. We are in the forward part of the ship now, and this is where Adventure Ocean is located. We saw the kids club for 12 to 17. Here's where all the other kids under 12 will be able to come and hang out, supervised, of course, from staff from Royal Caribbean. As you'll see when we walk through this area, Royal Caribbean gets an A+ for the theming. Here to the left is the kids arcade. We never actually got to peek inside there, but to the right, you'll see a workshop. All the age groups can rotate in to do different arts and crafts activities inside that workshop. So as first-time Royal Caribbean cruisers on this sailing, we were a little confused where to go, what age group was our kid under, but once you walk around, you can easily find your way. Next up is the Adventure Ocean Theater. I can't recall if it was every day, but definitely multiple times throughout the sailing, they would have movies available for the kids to come and watch. The center play area is an unsupervised area, so maybe you're just picking up or dropping off and your kids want to play a little bit longer. You could watch them in here. Looks like it's mainly designed for the younger ones. Here in the middle, you've got restrooms available for the ladies and the gents, the hens and the roosters. Another multi-use area is the science lab. Pretty cool looking in here. And right next to that is the Voyagers room. Now this is for ages 9 to 11. And just beyond that is the Explorers area for ages 6 to 8. Now between all the friends and family that we had sailing with us on this cruise, we had 3 girls that all fell in this age group and attended Adventure Ocean in this room. Between their feedback and our observations during check-in and check-out times, we just weren't that impressed with Adventure Ocean. If you want to hear more about this feedback, be sure to check out our top 16 things you need to know about the Allure of the Seas video, where we discuss 8 good things and 8 bad things that we found from the cruise that we think you need to know as an upcoming passenger. There we go into more detail about Adventure Ocean being on that bad list. So ages 3 to 5 are the aquanauts on this sailing. You can see their room here, and that's next to the Imagination Studio, where the kids can learn about animation. Last but not least, but certainly the littlest, you have the Royal Babies and Tots. This is for ages 0 to 2. It's basically your nursery. They do have supervision for that young if you feel so inclined to drop them off and have a few hours of grown-up time elsewhere on the Allure. So leaving Adventure Ocean, there's still one more thing here on deck 14. You can actually kind of see it where we were there in Adventure Ocean. Those forward-facing windows of the Voyagers, Explorers, and Aquanaut rooms all face a sun deck. Just down this stateroom hallway, watch your step as you get towards the end. You'll see this door. Now, at the time of filming, they had it closed due to high winds. But you know us here at the Nog Vlog, we're going to get you everything that we can, so we returned a little bit later in the sailing to show you this enormous sun deck that not a lot of people know about. So not only is the sun deck enormous, but they have these 2 little outcroppings that sit atop where the bridge below, where the captain and his or her crew navigate and operate the vessel. This allows for some unparalleled views that you can't get anywhere else on the ship. Not only forward, where you can see the helipad for helicopter landings in case of emergency, but also to the side and to the aft of the ship. As you can see, you are quite literally standing off to the side of the ship. You can see down into some suite balconies below. You're able to take a look into the solarium windows above and even the large outcropping of the jacuzzi that sits just outside the solarium and overhangs the side of the ship. We'll stop and do a quick forward view centered here on the sun deck. Always beautiful to take in. I mentioned these windows are part of Adventure Ocean, so they see out onto the sun deck. So don't do anything you're not supposed to out here. And we'll take a quick peek of the other side just once more because it is quite a breathtaking view. I do recommend this spot for pulling into ports, for leaving ports, sunsets, sunrises, and my favorite, pier runners. If you don't know what pier runners are, check out some of our past videos on the Nog Vlog. It's quite the treat to watch. So we're going to exit back the same way we came. I'm pretty sure this door is closed and blocked off permanently. So back where we exited into the sun deck, there is a restroom. And before you go off and book a room at the end of this hallway, take a listen to this. So keep that in mind just if you're planning to book near the end of this hallway. So we're going to jump to the aft of the ship. There's one more small venue on deck 14. It's called the Seven Hearts Card Room. This is exactly as what you would imagine. It's a large game room. We also have some internet kiosks available across the room. It's a great place to spend some time with family and friends, playing a board game, playing some cards, chess, checkers. You and your family might be bringing your own games, but if not, they've got plenty of games to choose from, all types of skills, all types of age levels. Like I said, you can bring your own. Plenty of room in here to host your own personal game night. So that's it for deck 14. There is no deck 13. We'll skip deck 12 because it's all staterooms, and we'll go down to deck 11. There in the aft of deck 11 is the Diamond Club. It's actually on 11 and 12. More on that in just a moment. To the right of that is the library. We'll take a peek inside here. Smaller than the game room, but definitely another quiet area where you can come and grab a book, borrow a book, leave a book. There's also a community bulletin board in here. Now I'll pause it here because someone tried to get a little funny with the bulletin board postings in here, but if you wanted to host something, you're more than welcome to use this placard to announce that to fellow library guests. Lots of shelf space to add to the collection, so if you've got a book that you're done with that you brought, feel free to leave it for a future guest. As we take a look at the seating here in the library, I do want to mention the Diamond Club next door. It actually encompasses both deck and 11. As first-time cruisers on Royal Caribbean, we are as far from Diamond as you can get in our loyalty club status. That being said, Diamond members and higher can visit the Diamond Club to enjoy on-the-house drinks, snacks, and other concierge services. So we'll head down to deck 9. We'll stay in the aft of the ship, and we'll enter the top deck of the 2-story Dazzles venue. This venue is multi-use. We sat here in the back for a 90s music trivia night. Other trivia events are held here. Music plays down on the stage. They have interactive game shows here. There is a bar downstairs. We'll see that when we're on deck 8. But you can see the seating here up on deck 9 with a pair of spiral staircases down to the bottom below. As we exit the doors from Dazzles here on 9, we'll pass the elevator bank. That's really all there is on deck 9, but I did want to show you this nice little hidden balcony that's for anybody to use. It's not connected to a stateroom. It's just this big heavy door that was actually really hard to open while holding a camera. There's one on either side. There's just a table, 2 chairs. You have a nice open air seating spot that's pretty private to maybe enjoy some coffee. That looks down on Central Park below. So if you're in this area early morning with your cup of coffee and you want to check your app for all the activities of the day, kind of fun secret place to go that no one else really knows about. All right, we have reached deck 8. The forward part of deck 8 does have some staterooms as well as obviously the balconies here on the outside. Here in the middle is Central Park. We just saw it above. So this part of the ship is just beautiful. I will note at the time that we filmed this ship tour, it was just a week after a deep freeze that it was very rare for Galveston, Texas, just before our sailing. Thus, you can see a lot of the greenage suffered here in this area. They have slowly been working to restore those. So I'm sure by the time that you're watching this, things will look a little bit more green in this area. Even still, very beautiful, very unique to be on a cruise ship and feel like you're in the middle of Central Park. Thus the name. So the first venues we just passed were some high-end retail shops. Now we're taking a look at the Picture This portrait studio, where you can pay for advanced photo sessions for you and your family and friends. So we don't miss anything, we'll head back to where we started to take a look at some of the first drink and food venues available here in Central Park. Watch your step coming down here, of course. Good symmetry here. You can see the forward starboard elevator bank through those doors. And we'll take a look inside Vintage's Wine Bar. This is early in the morning, so none of these venues are going to be open. So I apologize for the dark environment. We'll head to a couple light spots so you can get a little bit of a feel for the environment here in Vintage's. Here in this central area of Central Park is a lot of seating just to sit and enjoy a drink that you might have gotten from one of the nearby bars. The map shows that there's a bar here, but there never was a bar or cart here. There is one, the Trellis Bar, a little bit further down. We'll see that in just a moment. But first, let's head inside to one of the first restaurants we have here. This is Giovanni's Table. As you can probably guess from the name, this restaurant will serve your classic Italian fare. Royal Caribbean considers the attire needed for this restaurant as casual. This restaurant is not included in your base fare, so you do pay extra to dine here. And you can see there's additional seating outside. Now, this entire central area is really awesome. They have different musicians playing at night out here. You can bring your family out, enjoy the cool breeze and the environment of Central Park while out on a cruise ship. We definitely did this more than once on our sailing. Across the way is the Park Cafe. Now, I did go in here to get some of this footage. However, we actually enjoyed the breakfast buffet up at the Windjammer so much that we ate there nearly every day. But this is a nice place. If you don't want to go up to Windjammer, you just want to come down, grab something quick to eat, or grab some coffee. If you're centrally located, this is centrally located for you. Next up is the Trellis Bar. As cute as this area looks, there was only ever one bartender when we tried to get drinks here, and we just skipped it. It just took too long. Keep that in mind. If If you're just hoping to swing by, grab a drink, and catch a song or two, chances are that might not be in your favor. So this is the Deck 8 entrance into the Rising Tide Bar. We'll go more in depth on the Rising Tide Bar on Deck 6, but the next restaurant that we're going to see is Chops Grill. And this is your classic American steakhouse, of course. It is a paid restaurant. They serve dinner and lunch here. Smart casual is the attire preference recommended from Royal Caribbean. And note that lunch is only served on sea days. Here's a glance at that steakhouse menu. We'll turn the corner and one last venue to go. It's got a fitting name for this area, 150 Central Park. Very beautiful in here, and this is your more modern dining facility. You can get things like pork belly, duck, short rib. Just like Chops Grill, smart casual is the recommended attire for 150 Central Park. So that's it for the beautiful Central Park. You see the exits to the aft elevator banks. One of the small wonders right here, you can see our daughter Charlie enjoying what's inside. Don't want to give that away, but check those out across the ship. We mentioned dazzles up above on Deck 9. Here's the main level for this club. Huge variety of venues here. Nice open window to the aft of the ship, and what we're about to see below down on Deck 6. Got the main stage for the host of the activity or the band playing, the bar, and the staircases leading up to Deck 9 that we already saw, just in case you can't find a seat down on Deck 8. We'll head out the back, take one last look at those beautiful dresses that adorn the elevator bank here in the aft of the ship, and head down to Deck 7. Now, we're only going to be on Deck 7 for just a few seconds because technically the only thing located on Deck 7 outside of staterooms are the rock climbing walls. Normally you would actually access these from Deck 6 below, taking some stairs up on either side. You can see there's some tables and chairs in case you're waiting for a fellow guest to take their turn on the rock climbing wall. We found that they would open one or both just depending on the volume of interested climbers. We're going to take a look at the port rock climbing wall here in the aft of the ship. We'll get a quick preview to the boardwalk area down below, as well as the Aqua Theater here on this beautiful morning with the sunrise coming up over the Gulf of Mexico. Note this space because if by chance your Aqua Theater show is at capacity and there's no more seats in the theater, head up the stairs to this rock climbing area. You would have to stand, but they encourage you to use this railing to have a great view of the performance down below in the Aqua Theater. So we'll start Deck 6 with these weird balconies that stick out on the side here in the forward to mid section. They don't put anything here, maybe decorations during holiday events, something like that, but just know you could come up here if you wanted to take a nice view down below of the promenade, maybe during the balloon drop. You got staterooms on either side of the ship, and the whole forward section here is comprised of the Vitality at Sea Spa and Fitness Center. So this is going to be your spa, your salon, all your treatment rooms, all your amenities that are included with the spa, as well as your fitness center, workout studios, things like that. There also is a small juice bar here up front that you can take advantage of for fresh pressed juices, shakes, smoothies, things like that. See, they sell some beauty/wellness products over here to the right. To the left is the salon. We'll take a peek inside here during our spa tour on boarding day. We'll head left here first. At this Y to the right, you can go to the spa. To the left goes to the quite large fitness center. Of course, the fitness center is complimentary, included in your cruise fare. Similar to the solarium up on Deck 15, you must be 16 or older to use this facility. Plenty of cardio equipment when you first walk in here on the left. We'll see a bunch of weightlifting equipment, machines, and free weights in a moment. These stairs actually lead you down to the running track, the jogging track that goes around the entire circumference of the ship. That's on Deck 5 below. We'll walk that in just a moment. Take a look again at those machines. There's a small area to the right for floor exercises, ab workouts, things like that. See a small little bike studio in case you want to do one of those classes. Some extra cardio equipment facing the windows here on the starboard side. And then this door leads you back out to the spa area, which we'll tour next. So if we would have went to the right at that spa reservation desk, we would have been led down this hallway and to these stairs, which take you down to deck 5. So we are going to sneak down to deck 5. I know I like to go deck by deck. We're going to go down to deck 5 to tour the spa facility since it's all accessed via deck 6. One of the first places you'll see is the relaxation room, simply a room to allow you to relax before and after your treatments at the spa. The next area is kind of small, kind of dark, not preferred by me, but you can see you've got the heated relaxation loungers, you've got different types of aromatherapy saunas and tropical rain showers. I'm sure it's all relaxing, but the tight layout and the darkness just isn't my cup of tea. Now we're taking a quick tour of the couples jacuzzi lounge, which you can rent out for you and someone else. And there's rose petals in here. Whatever happens in here stays in here, right? Next up is the Mud Lounge. This is something we've never seen on any other ships before. I know we've seen several types of wrap treatments before, but never a lounge where you kind of self-service the mud yourself. So very interesting. Last, our attendants looking for a treatment room, which is one of your basic treatment rooms. So you could do massages, of course, facials, skincare, acupuncture, all of that's offered here at the Vitality Spa. So back up those stairs, back up to deck 6. We'll take you back out through the entrance/exit of the Vitality Spa. Looking after the Royal Promenade of deck 5. There's nothing on deck 6 between here and where we're about to go to. So we're going to jump to the aft elevator bank area and reconnect with deck 6 to continue their tour. You can see on this map that's been quite used over the 10 plus years this ship has been in service. Shows you exactly where we are, as does my map on the screen, of course. Which is a great reminder. If you find this video informative, hit that like button below. We'd greatly appreciate it. Down below, you see some stairs to deck 5, the Royal Promenade below. You can see the beautiful waterfall of the rising tide bar. We alluded to that on deck 8 above, and we'll revisit it when we get down on deck 5 in just a moment. On the starboard side of this area, you see the Focus Photo Gallery, as well as the Shore Excursions desk. So the photo gallery works in a couple ways. You can download your photos from the photographers on the cruise to an email, or you can have them print the actual photos for hand delivery. You also purchase other gear related to photography, cameras, GoPros, that kind of thing. To the back of this area is some additional stairs taking you down to the promenade below. We'll circle back around though and finish this area with 2 more venues. We got the Schooner Bar, which we'll walk through in a moment, and the Crown and Anchor Society Loyalty Desk, in case you need to visit that during your cruise. So the Schooner Bar on the Allure of the Seas doubles as the piano bar venue. So on our sailing, we had Ross Ledbetter as the piano guy. It's spelled lead beater, but I think that's just a play on letters, play on words, a la the Beatles or the Oneaters, if you can get that reference. We got some great seating and great views up here. I do recommend visiting the Schooner Bar. They've got a pretty cool menu. A lot of great cocktails and drinks specific just to the Schooner Bar. Through this door is some stairs that lead you down to the Royal Promenade below. You'll see another small wonder here. I don't think you're necessarily supposed to be using those stairs. I saw a lot of performers actually use that were using that area behind that door as a stage. We're going to head back towards the aft of the ship, and the aft of deck 6 is comprised of the boardwalk. Our family and friends spent the most time on this cruise at the boardwalk, and it wasn't even close. Starting off that carnival theme with some funhouse style mirrors. These are an absolute blast. We got the gimmicky fortune teller for a small fee, of course. Delicious boardwalk donuts served every morning at breakfast time. Boardwalk Doghouse had some pretty tasty hot dog options. You can pick your combination of dog, bun, and toppings. Both the Boardwalk Donuts and Boardwalk Doghouse are included in your cruise fare. One of the big highlights for the kids on our sailing, as well as grown-ups alike, was the carousel located here in the center of the boardwalk. Next door, you've got 3 shops: Pinwheel selling souvenir and clothes for kids, Candy Beach selling snacks and candy, and Star Pier souvenirs for your grown-ups. You see the hours for the carousel, 10 a.m. to 9 p.m., so you can enjoy it during the daylight or in the evening time. Whether it was an actual carnival or the silent dance party, there was always something going on at the boardwalk. Across the way, you'll find Cups and Scoops ice cream with lots of flavors to choose from. Purchases here are an additional charge, but it's not very expensive. They also do cupcake classes in here. You can see they're setting up for that. Next door to Cups and Scoops is another arcade. Smaller than the one we saw up on deck 15, but nonetheless a nice alternative in case your family's hanging out down here at the boardwalk. Heading further back down the boardwalk, you'll find Johnny Rocket's Diner. Get seating inside and out. They serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Lunch and dinner are an additional charge, but breakfast is included. Also be on the lookout because the servers will occasionally put on a little show for you. The hut you see here is the Sabor Bar, open in the afternoon and evenings. And for lunch and dinner, at an additional charge, you can dine at the Sabor restaurant serving a Mexican cuisine. There's a tiny little playground installation tucked behind the Sabor restaurant you can see here. And now we return to the Aqua Theater that we saw when we were up at the rock climbing walls on deck 7 a few moments ago. We're actually going to snap our fingers, go back in time to earlier in the morning, and conclude our ship tour of deck 6 with this gorgeous sunrise coming up over the Gulf of Mexico. Be sure not to miss Oceanaria, the show here in the Aqua Theater. We already saw the 2 rock climbing walls up above on deck 7, but you can access them through stairs here on deck 6. If you've got money to burn, definitely check out one of these aft balcony suites for an incredible view. This poster isn't just for looks, this is actually a game that you can download on the Royal Caribbean app. More fun and games, you got a little beanbag toss here. Brenny was very proud of her 100-point toss. So here are the stairs that take you up to the rock climbing wall. Of course, there's a set on the other side for the other wall. These stairs actually take you down to deck 5 to that jogging track. We saw that at the beginning of deck 6 from the fitness center. You can also access that here from deck 6 in the aft of the ship. Now, when shows aren't going on at the Aqua Theater, you can actually head back behind here and play a little shuffleboard. Grab the equipment you need and play away. Of course, they do close this off when shows are going on because this area is actually used by the performers. You can see the view that they have. Just a beautiful, amazing looking ship design here on the back of the Allure of the Seas and Oasis class ships. And not to be outdone, you have the beauty of looking out the aft of the ship at the horizon, at the sunrise, and the wake in the ocean behind you. On the port side, it's mostly more of the same. Shuffleboard, you've got stairs down below and stairs up above. There is a set of bathrooms available here on this side. It felt like a lot, but believe it or not, we've got even more to cover down below on deck 5. So let's get started. We're going to start in the forward section as we always do, but we're going to be on the starboard side near the doors that lead out to the running track. We're actually going to end our tour of deck 5 here in just a moment. The forward sections of deck 5, as well as 4 and even technically deck 3, are all comprised of the Amber Theater. Here is the balcony level from deck 5, and you can see it's quite large. This venue hosts here on the Allure of the Seas the Mamma Mia production. We had magicians and comedian performances also on this sailing here in the Amber Theater. We didn't notice any drink service offered to guests sitting in seats in the Amber Theater. However, there was a beverage cart located on deck 4 down below. Heading out of the Amber Theater, you can see the forward elevators. We're back on that starboard side. There's where we started. You can see the Royal Promenade that we're going to go through here in just a moment. Glance up above at all the artwork that we've seen as we've toured from top to bottom. We're so close to the end. We'll have one deck more below deck 4 to review, as well as a little bit on deck 3. Here you see the port exit to the running track and a port side entrance back into the Amber Theater. You'll be able to find maps and even some interactive maps around the elevator banks to help find your way around the ship. Some stairs down into the deck 4 area. We'll see that in just a bit. This is the bar side entrance to the On Air Club. There's a Starbucks coffee here in the middle. Note that any drink packages that you purchase does not include Starbucks. That has to be paid for out of pocket. The On Air Club hosted a lot of different activities like trivia and family karaoke, which was a big hit. So make sure you do get there early. It's a small venue for karaoke. Across the way, you'll find Boleros. This is a Latin Cuban style of bar and lounge. It was actually closed when I was walking by for the ship tour, unfortunately, for an art gallery setup that was about to take place. When open, there was usually performers in there playing Latin music, lots of people salsa dancing in there. They too have a custom menu with great drinks to try. The next few venues are all shopping venues. First up being The Shop, selling Royal Caribbean merchandise. Also had a few basic items like snacks and toiletries available in case you needed to get something that you didn't bring. These outside kiosks are similar to mall kiosks and selling different things at different times. Sometimes they would have special sales with racks of clothing on discount. Next door to the shop is the Solera store for your beauty and fragrance items. Across the way you can see Regala Jewelry Store. And as we turn around passing Sorrento's Pizza, we'll take a peek inside Port Merchants, Royal Caribbean's duty-free liquor store. Now, as we exit this store, unbeknownst to us, when we came back home, the file for the rest of Deck 5 in the promenade section here had been corrupted. So we'll have to use our B-roll only to show you the rest of the venues. First up being Bow and Stern, with great location, great drinks, great service, and lots of seating. We ended up coming here a lot. Across from Bow and Stern, you just saw Sorrento's Pizza. This is the included pizza joint. Great for one last snack after a late night out. Back to the port side, you've got Cafe Promenade, serving up complimentary breakfast, at cost specialty coffees. There also is the included drink stations down here in case you don't want to go all the way up to the Windjammer Cafe to get coffee or tea. The beautiful waterfall of the Rising Tide Bar was probably its best feature. It was broken most of the trip. When we did ride it, it was less than thrilling and the service wasn't very good. Don't waste your time at the Rising Tide Bar. Next to that is guest services. We found guest services always very helpful, and don't forget you can punch a hole in your card for a lanyard if you need to. Last but not least, the Champagne Bar in the corner was a beautiful venue and served up some of the best drinks we had on the entire sailing. The Royal Promenade was a hotbed of action, including the Anchors Away parade for the kids, the midnight balloon drop and embarkation day. You could usually always find something going on down in the Royal Promenade. Luckily, we're back on track with the footage here on Deck 5 for the ship tour. So just past the elevator bank here in the aft of the ship is the first of 3 main dining rooms. This one is the Silk main dining room. Each of the restaurants has this foyer space to kind of help usher people in when it's opening for the busiest times. And as you come in, you can see the whole venue is big, fairly bright, lots of great comfortable seating, spaced far enough apart where you don't feel cramped in. You can see down below to the other 2 main dining rooms. We'll see those in just a little bit, of course. On this sailing, we were on Deck 4, the middle restaurant, Grande. But as far as I know, both Grande and Silk are designated for the set time dinings, whether that's the early or the late specific seatings. If you choose My Time Dining, that's going to be the 3rd restaurant down on Deck 3, American Icon. The last thing to check out here on Deck 5 is that running track. Here in the aft of the ship, you can see from the Royal Promenade, you can exit out the doors. We're going to go out on the port side here and start taking a jog down the track. Towards the aft of the ship here on the port side, these stairs will take you back up to the Aqua Theater area. When I was doing this tour, I assumed these windows were actually part of the main dining room that we were just in, but if you actually look at the map that Royal Caribbean provides, it's actually the bellows of the Aqua Theater, likely the quote-unquote backstage area for the performers of the shows. What's great about this jogging track, it goes all the way around the outside, so you get that, again, amazing view of the wake of the ship down below, right here in the center. I think it's pretty neat that they actually put some chairs out here too in case you wanted to sit and enjoy a drink or coffee, watching a sunrise, sunset, or just simply the wake of the ship. Similar to the other side, these stairs take you back up to the rock climbing wall area. These windows are in fact the windows of the Silk main dining room. So for the jogging track, 1 mile is just a mere 2.4 laps. That shows you just how massive these Oasis class ships are. So we didn't start technically where this diagram says you should start for the markers to make sense. We started in the aft of the ship. That's fine. You can see where we are now, still in the aft of the ship, but just now on the starboard side. You go through here, you'll be back to the Silk main dining room. I do want to point out this area right here. When we boarded in Galveston, we entered through these two sections here. This first one here, more towards the backside. You can see the car here matches the car that sits just in front of the Rising Tides bar in the Royal Promenade. And here's the other entrance into that Royal Promenade. So these are the doors that you'll enter and exit the ship on the first day and the last day of your cruise. Now we're back up towards the forward section of the ship here on the starboard side. Enter through those doors. That's where we started the tour of Deck 5 at the Amber Theater. This is also a great place just to step outside, even if you're not going to jog on the track, and take in the ocean down below. You really can't get much closer than this here on the side of Deck 5. Continuing on forward, we curve around a tunnel which goes underneath some of the venues above, including the back of the Amber Theater, as well as the entrance to the Vitality Spa and Fitness Centers. We saw the stairs that led down from the fitness facility. Here we see where those end up. And then you can curve back around to the open air as we head aft on the ship on the port side. You gotta love the motivational signs above, as well as the other random funny signs posted all along the running track. So with that, our tour of Deck 5 concludes back where we started on the running track. We'll head inside, head down one more deck to Deck 4, and we'll start again on that forward starboard side right outside the Amber Theater. You'll see the elevators to your left there. This filming was done during one of the showings of Mamma Mia. We were on Deck 5 during intermission, but the show is back in session, so I won't go in now. But around the corner, you'll see the entrance to Blaze. This is the nightclub for this sailing. It's fairly large, but there is always going to be a line lining up when the venue's about to open, so just be prepared. You may recall this spiral staircase coming up from the very beginning of Deck 5 to get you down here to Deck 4. Now what you're going to see here is the signage for Jazz on 4, but since our cruise, they've actually converted this former Roaring 20s style jazz lounge into a smoke-free casino, courtesy of someone from a Facebook group. I got to get some footage of that so you could take a look at what it looks like. There's a few table games, a few slot machines, nothing major, but it is smoke-free. Continuing around the corner, you see there is a beverage cart located in the central area between the nightclub, which has its own bar, and the adjacent Comedy Live venue. This hosts smaller sessions of comedic acts. Typically you need reservations for this, so check your Royal Caribbean app to make sure you can get those. And even though you have reservations, don't show up at the last minute, because you might have to split up your party amongst the last few available seats. Continuing further towards the middle of Deck 4, you'll find Studio B. Now this is the ice skating rink that's located on the Allure of the Seas. So not only do they do shows on the ice skating rink, but you can actually skate yourselves, no extra charge for that. They also throw a floor down on top of the ice and host other events like this silent dance party that you see here. Now on either side of Studio B is a long hallway that leads you into the casino, Casino Royale. This portside hallway actually is a art gallery, so we're going to end up here after our tour of the casino. We're going to go on the other side. You can see this hallway runs along Studio B, and then you're finally into the casino floor. If you're not a fan of smoke, I would definitely consider going to the other casino, even though they separate this floor with some non-smoking machines and table games. The smoking ventilation in this area was not all that great. See, they got 6 to 5 blackjack, so that's always good. I only played craps on my sailing. They had 2 craps tables. One was a smoking table, one was a non-smoking table. They were both $10 minimums with 2 times max odds. I don't point it out here, but if you wanted to exit after the ship, you could do so here to get to the aft elevator banks and stairs. We're going to actually loop back around and take a look at a couple of lounge chairs here in the center, including the center casino bar. I think there's really only 2, 3, 4 TVs around the entire casino. So if you like to gamble and watch sports at the same time, not the best venue, probably something they can modernize down the line. If you're a sucker for one of them, there's a coin pusher machine in here. They do have live dealer poker tables, which is nice if that's your thing. Although I was happy I left up money from the casino on this particular sailing, I wasn't all that impressed with how compact the area was, the high smoke smell, and the slow bar service. We got a glimpse earlier of the Park West Art Gallery outside of the doors of Studio B. Here you can walk along that, including the small little Hall of Odds, which just has some interesting facts kind of twisted into what-if riddles. But now that we're done with this area, we're going to skip past the casino over to the aft elevator bank and stairs and take a look at the Grande main dining room. Along with the Silk main dining room on the deck above that we already saw, this also serves as the location for early and late set dining times. We ate at the Grande restaurant 5 out of 5 nights on our sailing. We thoroughly enjoyed it. There were some strikeouts on some of the dishes, but the ones that hit were home runs. So while that was inconsistent, we did love the portion size, and we absolutely love the staff that served us each and every night. So before we head down to Deck 3, the last deck of our ship tour, we have one last venue located here on Deck 4, one final paid restaurant, and that is Izumi Hibachi and Sushi. As you can assume, this Japanese restaurant has several hibachi stations for you to reserve, or you could simply go and get teppanyaki style served at a table, or even sushi straight from the sushi bar. As much as I would wish we could have attended this venue, we were on a budget this cruise and stuck to the main dining room for all of our meals. So alas, we finally got to the bottom of this ship, at least as far as public spaces go, and that is Deck 3. What you just saw actually was a door that leads to an escalator down to Deck 2, which is the gangway off the ship when you're in port. Opposite of that, you'll see entrance to the conference center, so if the cruise is hosting anything where conference rooms are needed, this is where that would take place. We're going to pivot to the opposite side of the conference center all the way back to the aft elevators and stair bank. We'll spin around and you'll see the entrance to the American Icon Grill. This is the included main dining room for people that are choosing their own time to dine each and every night. One thing about this venue is there is a small bar outside in that foyer leading into the restaurant. Since we didn't have this dining style, can't tell you whether that bar was in service or not, but if so, it's a nice option to grab a drink while you're waiting for your reservation to be ready. The American Icon Grill has a classic car theme. You can see with the chandelier of lights made with old school, old-timey headlights. You can see the license plate collage in the shape of America adorning one of the walls here in the restaurant. We actually did eat in this restaurant on the very last day, disembarkation day. We grabbed some of the complimentary breakfast that's included on your sailing. So with that, we thank you for coming to take a tour with us here at the Nog Vlog aboard the Royal Caribbean Allure of the Seas. Let us know in the comments if you have any questions about this ship or our sailing. We'll be happy to answer them. Be sure to watch our entire vlog series from our trip on the Allure of the Seas. Smash that like button below to let us know if you learned something from this video today. And thanks as always for coming to take a trip with us.